The man we are about to talk about was rejected more than 30 times. He was turned down by the police. He was turned down by KFC. Harvard said no to him 10 times in a row. He failed exams and grew up in poverty. Today, his name is known all over the world, Jack Ma. And his story is not about luck. It is about a mindset that can change your life as well. Jack Ma was not born into wealth. On the contrary, he grew up in extreme poverty and struggled badly in school. He openly admitted that he failed exams again and again. And yet this same person later built one of the largest companies in the world. His story is not about a brilliant start. It is about someone who learned to think differently. Today, I want to break down the key principles behind Jack Ma's mindset. The principles that helped him push through dozens of rejections and completely transform his life. The first lesson he learned is simple. Get used to rejection. His life contained more failures than victories. He failed his elementary school graduation exam twice and failed middle school exams 3 times. For 3 years in a row, he could not get into college. He applied for more than 30 jobs and was rejected every single time. He tried to join the police, but they told him he was not a good fit. When KFC opened in his city, 24 people applied and 23 were hired. He was the only one rejected. At the police department, 5 candidates applied and 4 were accepted. Again, he was the one left out. He applied to Harvard 10 times and was rejected every time. Instead of seeing rejection as a final verdict, he learned to treat it as normal. He realized rejection is not the end. He once said, "There may not be many people in the world who have been rejected more than 30 times, but the difference is not the number of failures. The difference is whether you give up or keep going." He compared himself to Forrest Gump, someone who simply keeps moving forward without complaining, without stopping, without losing faith. He emphasized that the biggest mistake is deciding after one failure that you should never try again. The person who stays trapped in the pain of a mistake deprives himself of a future. The second principle he developed was preparing for the future. Jack Ma understood that he had no money, no technology, and no influential relatives to support him. He realized his only real advantage was the ability to think 10 years ahead. He did not try to compete in the short term. He knew that if he tried to challenge stronger players immediately, he had no chance. So he chose a different strategy. He began planning a decade ahead and preparing for the future he believed in. He often said, "The hardest thing in the world is convincing successful people to see new opportunities." Those who have already achieved success are often unwilling to change, but those with limited resources are forced to be creative, because otherwise they cannot survive. He believed that people who have nothing to lose often have the greatest chance to create something new. They are not protecting the past, they are building the future. The third principle is to work smart. Jack Ma always stressed that success is not only about who works harder. Millions of people work extremely hard. The real question is who thinks strategically. When Alibaba went public, he reminded his team that many of them had become millionaires. But 15 years earlier, they were nobody. Back then, it was almost impossible to hire even one moderately qualified employee because no one believed in the internet. Talented and confident individuals chose established companies or started their own ventures. The people who joined Alibaba were often those rejected elsewhere. They stayed, they grew, and they became successful. Because of their belief, the company survived and thrived. He emphasized that a shared dream and the willingness to keep fighting matter more than status or degrees. The fourth lesson is to see opportunities in difficulties. Jack Ma said the world has always been full of both challenges and opportunities. 2,000 years ago, it was the same, and 2,000 years from now, it will still be the same. Everything depends on how you see it. When he was young, he also complained. He believed that all the big opportunities had already been taken by Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and other technology leaders. It seemed like nothing significant was left for him. But over time, he realized opportunities are born from dissatisfaction, from problems, from challenges. Where there is difficulty, there is potential for innovation. The more challenges a person can overcome, the more opportunities they unlock. The fifth principle is the ability to change. When Jack Ma first started his business in China, it took him 5 months to earn his first $500. He did not know how to run a business and had no technical knowledge. When he tried to register a company with the word internet in its name, he was told that such a word did not even exist in the dictionary. He was advised to choose a different name. So his first company was registered as a computer company, even though he barely knew anything about computers. He once said it felt like a blind man creating a blind tiger. Many others were already racing ahead confidently, but in the end, it was those who moved carefully and thought about the future who survived. He said what saved them was their belief in the future. They kept growing, learning, adapting, and never stopped evolving. His dream began to form when he first traveled to America and visited Silicon Valley. He saw highways full of cars, skyscrapers, lights, and energy, and something ignited inside him. He knew he wanted to be part of that world. He was inspired by the film Forrest Gump. He watched it many times and said that every time he saw it, he was reminded of one thing: no matter what happens around you, you must remain yourself. Even when he earned only $20 a month, he was the same person. And when his income increased thousands of times, his inner character did not change. Jack Ma's story is not about overnight success. It is about someone who became comfortable with rejection, learned to think long-term, worked strategically, saw opportunity in difficulty, and continuously adapted. That is what made him who he is today. My next video will help you achieve your goals faster and more effectively. Do not miss your chance.